It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Jeremy Jeffries, a business owner of a podcast called What's the Alternative and of a business called the Powerplex, North Carolina. How are you doing today?
I'm all right, man. How are you? Happy to be here.
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to be a business owner?
Oh, man. It just all came from working for somebody else. You know, the experience of working for somebody else and knowing you can have your own and you have creative talents and things of that nature, and being able to see the vision and put action on the vision made me want to be a business owner and work for myself.
How did you know that you wanted to be a sports podcast?
It really just came about, man. I really had no intentions to do it, but I really just wanted to kind of put something out there. And in my podcast talks a lot about the realism of, you know, athletes of all sports. You know, a lot of them don't have the opportunity to go high major Division I or go on a full scholarship. So it's like, what's the alternative? Like, what are you going to do next? Because the real world hits. So trying to give them that that realization of, you know, what's going on in the real world, and try to get it to them a little early, because I think Instagram and social media has made everything so flashy that every kid believes that they can go to the NBA and you know, I'm not a dream killer, but we want to be realistic at the same time. So that kind of really made me start the podcast.
How did you come up with the name What's the Alternative?
That's really just a saying that I say all the time. You know, obviously when you're running a business, the first couple of years are hard, and a lot of people don't see that side. And you know, oftentimes I look at my partner and say, "Yeah, man, we can. You know, what's the alternative? We got to figure it out." You know what I mean? So that kind of went hand in hand, and that's where I got the name from.
Who are some famous people that you've interviewed for your podcast, What's the Alternative?
Most recently, I've interviewed Coach Lavelle Moulton of North Carolina Central. He's a big name in the basketball world, and a longtime friend / little brother, Kobe White, that I've worked with training since high school. I love him like he's my own brother, and we've developed a close relationship, and so I've had him on the episode as well.
Can you talk about your other business, the one that you help train, Powerplex?
Of course, yeah. So Powerplex is a training facility where we train for all sports, from baseball to softball to soccer to basketball to football. And it's just really made for our kids here in Eastern North Carolina to give them the resources that bigger cities have. We try to make it really affordable pricing and top-notch training for the kids in our area. So try to provide the best service.
How did you know that you wanted to open up a business called the Powerplex for training athletes?
Well, I started off at Greenfield, and I'm gracious to Greenfield School, which is where I went to high school. My coach, Rob Salter, was there, and he was gracious enough to let me coach on the coaching staff and use the gym for training. And that's where it all started. But obviously, you know, there's pros and cons to when you're using somebody else's facility. So, you know, you kind of have to deal with that. But, you know, I'm gracious for them. They helped me get my start. But it got to a point where I needed, you know, my own space. So I'm able to schedule at any time that I want to. And I didn't have to schedule around so many different things that the school had going on.
Can you talk about how you got your start there at Greenfield using their facility where Kobe White came from?
Yeah, of course. So, like I said before, I played at Greenfield, and I went to college from Greenfield. So, you know, they have a long pipeline, a list of kids that come out of Greenfield that make it to college to play basketball. You know, and it's home, it's family. So I called Coach Sauter, and he didn't hesitate to put me on the staff and let me help out, man. So that's kind of where it started. I was still working at Enterprise at the time, and then somebody was like, "Man, you should start training," because I was kind of doing the development on the side, but I wasn't really serious about it. And when I started it, it just kind of took off from there. Obviously, having athletes like Kobe and Elijah McCadden, who's now at Georgia Southern, doing very well. But they kind of were the catalyst behind everything, and it kind of took off from there.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start 2 YouTube channels for your business?
Well, the YouTube channel was just a way to get everything out there. It's kind of what the kids look at on a daily. So it was really just an exposure thing for me. I did it because that's what I went to school for, media, so I know how to edit myself. But I really did it to just help the kids get out there, and I was having fun with it, and I didn't think it would take off to that point that it would. But obviously YouTube is huge for everybody nowadays, especially if you're doing visual workouts or anything like that. So people like to watch stuff in today's era. So that's kind of why I started a YouTube channel.
Can you talk about how your podcast has taken off in a world and become so famous?
I don't think it's famous, but it's not there yet. And but that's not really my intentions. My intentions is more for just to educate the kids. That's more so what I why I'm doing the podcast, not more so to get followers or anything like that. Anything that comes with it will be great.
Who are some famous people that you're planning to interview for your podcast?
I can't disclose that information, but I do have some guests that are coming on, and it's hard to keep up with famous guests. So I just try to have guests who are very knowledgeable about the game of basketball or anything, or life, or anything that we talk about. Very connected, being in the basketball world. So that helps me a lot as far as reaching out to some of these people. But I can't tell you who's going to be on the next episode because then I'll be spoiling it. So
for your podcast, is there a specific sport that you like to cover, or do you cover all the sports?
I would like to cover all the sports, but I'm tied to the basketball world myself. So most of it tends to be basketball right now because it's just so easy for me to talk about. And, all my connection in my circle is basketball.
How has both of your business helped you as a business owner?
It's helped me learn a lot and grow as a person. I think people misconcept how hard it is as a business owner, a new business owner at that. You have people that want you to fail and people that want you to succeed, but it's tough, but it's worth the journey. So, but I think it's helped me learn so much as a person about myself and patience with other people, and it's groomed me. So,
what advice would you give upcoming sports podcast owners looking to get into the profession?
Just to have a purpose, know your purpose, and do it solely for that purpose. Don't do it for anything else. Try not to worry about the followers and the subscribers, and just do it out of your heart and what you're trying to do it for. So,
do you see any in the future any collabs coming your way for your podcast? What's the alternative?
Are you saying as far as somebody else, like with another podcaster, or what are you saying?
Yes, with another podcaster.
Oh, I haven't thought about that, but that's a good idea. So, no, I hadn't thought about that. COVID has obviously slowed a lot of things down. So, but yeah. So that's a good idea. I may think about doing that.
What are your advice would you give sports business owners looking to get into the profession of owning their own sports business?
Create yourself a team of people who really, really have your back. That would be, in my opinion, the most important one is creating that team that's going to get behind you, and through the ups and downs, and making sure everything is to a T. You're going to learn a lot, even in business. Things are going to go wrong. It's how it happens, and your ability to adapt and have strong people around you is what's really essentially going to help you succeed.
Where can my listeners find both your podcast and your sport business on social media?
So they can find us on social media, all platforms. They can find our facility at Powerplexnc, and they can find my podcast at Power TV NC. So we have a Power TV channel that's our YouTube channel, and that's where we post a podcast on social media.
Can you tell us about the alternative social media? What's the alternative social media platforms?
Oh, it doesn't. So we don't have one. It goes underneath the Power TV, if you see what I'm saying. Oh, the podcast will be posted on the Power TV NC page.
Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck in both of your sports businesses. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at @talk_Brandon, and you can find us on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Jeremy, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you for having me, man.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.